Today I'm going to show you how to check your hip rotation mobility and range of motion, and then I'm going to show you 2 rotational mobilizations for the hips. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? It's Blake Bowman here with Gorilla Zen Fitness, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to test your hips for mobility. Okay, so in other words, I'm going to show you how to determine whether or not you're missing range of motion in your hips with regards to your ability to rotate your hips. And then after I show you the assessment that you'll go through on yourself, I'll show you some mobilizations that you can use afterwards to help improve any areas in which you might be missing range of motion. So to begin, a lot of people are on the internet, and you can see a lot of people all over the place talking about hip mobilizations, okay? And when it comes to hip mobilizations, most of the time people are talking about how to improve extension of the hip or flexion, right? Like the classic hip flexor stretch where you stretch the front of the hip, that's designed to improve hip extension, which takes your leg back like this. So there's a lot of people talking about your ability to straighten out your hip and also flex your hip, pull the leg up like this, but there's not a whole lot of people out there that I've seen that are talking about the ability for you to rotate your hips, which means turn the leg bone in and out in the hip joint. Now, it's crucial to have that rotational capacity in the hip joint if you want to do things like squats or even more basic things like turn on your butt muscles or walk properly. Missing range of motion there is really going to affect the way that your entire body moves, and it's important that you identify any range of motion that you're missing and do exercises, which I'll show you later in this video, to help improve that range of motion. So in a second here, one of my trainers, Alyssa, and myself, we're going to show you a test that you can perform on your own hips to determine whether or not you're missing range of motion with regards to external rotation or internal rotation. Let's get started. All right, so this is Alyssa, and like I said, we're basically going to show you how to test your hip range of motion. So Alyssa, what I want you to do is just kind of actually lay down on your stomach and face that way. Okay, so yep, just like that. So in order to test somebody's hip rotation, and you can do this on yourself or you can have somebody else do this for you, there's 2 things that you want to keep in mind. One thing you want to do is you want to kind of test one leg at a time. So with that leg that's being tested, the knee is going to bend to 90 degrees and you're going to keep it there. And the most important thing is that both of your hips are staying flat on the floor. You're going to have the kind of propensity to lift one hip off of the floor each time you do this, and you don't want to do that. You want to keep both hips flat on the floor like this, okay? So once you're ready to do this and you're just laying down, you want to be really relaxed because we're checking your passive rotational capacity here. What you're going to do is you're just going to let your foot, you're going to relax your leg and you're going to let it bend off to the outside of the leg like this until it feels like it hits a wall and it just doesn't want to go anymore. Okay, so Alyssa, just kind of relax this foot and this whole leg, but keep the knee bent at 90 and just let it fall towards me, keeping both hips on the ground. Okay, so basically what's happening is her leg bone here is turning inwards. Even though her foot's coming this way, her leg bone is turning in. So when her leg is coming this way, we're checking her internal range of motion capacity, okay? So first thing you want to do is come off to the side like this. She's doing a good job of keeping both hips on the ground. And then the second thing we're going to do is we're going to check her external range of motion. So her ability to turn her leg bone outwards. So again, keep in mind, it's kind of confusing. When the foot's moving in, the femur, the leg bone, is actually turning outwards towards me. Okay, make sure to keep that hip on the ground, Alyssa. So basically what we're looking for here is an even spread, okay? Ideally, she should get a little bit less than 45 degrees, like way out here, and a little bit less than 45 degrees here, like a windshield wiper. You're looking for an even spread. If you notice that you can go a lot further inwards than you can outwards, then that indicates that you're missing, if you can go inwards, that indicates that you're missing internal range of motion, okay? So we can see for Alyssa that her foot doesn't really want to go that far this way. It can go really far this way, okay? So her windshield wiper spread is kind of turned inwards like this. And what this suggests is that it has way more external rotation on this hip than she does internal rotation, right? Her leg bone doesn't want to turn in. Again, I could force her into a more internally rotated position. This is somewhere closer to where I would have liked to have seen her, gotten her leg naturally, passively, okay? But she's kind of stopping right here, which indicates that she's missing a little bit of internal rotation here. If she had the opposite going on, and she could come way out here while keeping both feet on the ground, but then she only moves in like a little bit right here, that spread, again, that windshield wiper spread would be kind of turned the other way, and that would indicate that she would have the opposite problem, which is missing external rotation, okay? So we know that on this hip, she has a little bit less than optimal internal range of motion. And again, we're looking for a little bit less than 45 degrees in each direction. If she had perfectly mobile hips, she'd come about 45 degrees out here and then 45 degrees right here. She wouldn't have excessive range of motion in one way, and she wouldn't be missing range of motion one way. So again, on this hip for Alyssa, we know she's missing internal range of motion. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, see if you have the same thing on this side. Because sometimes you can have a difference from left to right. So go ahead and do that. Go to the outside first. Just keep the knee bent, keep both hips on the ground, just let it go out until it feels like it doesn't want to go off to the side anymore. Keep the knee bent at 90 degrees. Is that as far as you can go, Alyssa? Keep that knee bent. Keep the knee bent. See, a lot of people will do that. They'll tend to straighten out the knee. You got to keep that knee bent. Okay? Yeah. Don't force it though. It's just like a passive thing. Okay? Just stay relaxed. So she's like naturally like ending right here. I can feel resistance right here. So now go ahead, keep that knee bent and bring that foot towards me. There we go. Yep, so she has basically the same thing going on this side that she had going on the other side. She's got a lot of external rotation of the hip, right? Remember when the foot's coming in, the leg bone is turning outwards. So she's got a lot of range of motion here. And again, she's missing range of motion when it comes to internal range of motion here. So what she needs to do actually is mobilize her hips with an internal range of motion or an internal rotation mobilization. Okay, so assuming you've done that test on yourself and you now know whether you're missing internal range of motion or external range of motion, now you can basically use these mobilizations that we'll show you right now to help improve the range of motion that you might be missing. All right, so like I said, assuming you know what you're missing now I'm going to show you, or Alyssa and I are going to show you mobilizations that are going to help restore the range of motion in which you might be missing. Okay, for Alyssa, we'll just start with what she needs, which is an internal range of motion, internal rotation mobilization, okay, because that's what she's missing. And you'll find too that this is the most common. When I work with clients, most people are missing internal rotation. Not very many people are missing external rotation. Some people are, but it's way more common to be missing internal rotation, okay? And basically, to mobilize the hips, go ahead and stay right there, Alyssa. It's very easy to do this. One of my favorite ones is just to be exactly where Alyssa is, sitting like this. And in order to mobilize a joint, especially the hip, you just need to move it into the range of motion that you're trying to acquire, okay? So for her leg bone here does not want to turn in, so all we're going to do is we're going to turn it in and we're going to do it for a lot of reps in order to kind of lubricate the joint and improve the range of motion there. So in order to do that, we'll do one hip at a time, okay? And the best way to do it is pick a hip, kind of take that foot out a little bit wide, and then you're simply going to dip the knee down towards the ground like this, and then you're going to come back out. And then you're going to go back down, and you're going to come back out. And you're just going to keep doing that over and over. And the goal is to basically, each rep, as the joint becomes more mobile, is to go down a little bit further than you did on the preceding rep before it. So keep doing that, Alyssa, but the goal is to basically be able to do this, okay? Get your hip all the way down, right? So she's missing range of motion there, so it's probably pretty sticky. It probably feels uncomfortable for her. In general, the wider you get your foot, the easier time you'll have to do this, okay? Keep that foot kind of dorsiflex, pull the toes up a little bit. That'll help protect the knee while you're doing this. If this hurts your knee, then don't do this. But basically, the way that you want to do this is just through sheer volume. As Kelly Starrett says, motion is lotion, right? The way that you bring more mobility to the hip is you just move it like this into the range of motion that you're trying to restore. So I would recommend doing this for about 50 reps on each leg if you're trying to improve your hip internal rotation. Okay, so that's a really good one. You would do that on the other hip as well. Doing this before like a leg day or something like that would be very beneficial. You want to keep that knee more bent than that though. Try to keep the knee bent all the way up to like 90 degrees, almost like you're doing a squat. Yeah, foot closer to the butt. More like out here, like this.
Oh, like that.
Yep. So that's how you restore internal range of motion and rotation. Now, to do the opposite, assuming she doesn't need this, she has excessive external range of motion, but if she did the test and found out that she was missing external rotation, then she would want to do this one. So it's basically, we're just going to do the exact opposite. We're going to put the feet where they were. And for this, I like to use the arms to kind of like assist the leg. And you're basically, yeah, you're going to push it down like that. She has a lot of range of motion here, so this is easy for her. She could probably push it all the way down to the ground here. But if you did the test on yourself and you found that you were missing external rotation, then you probably wouldn't be able to get down this deep. So you would proceed with this the same way that you proceeded with the last mobilization that we just showed you. You just want to do this for a lot of reps. Each rep, you want to push down a little bit more than the last rep. And again, what we're doing here by pushing the knee down is we're taking that leg bone and it's actually turning outwards. As the knee comes down towards the ground, the femur is turning out, and that's externally rotating the hip on that side. So again, with this, you want to keep those heels close to the butt, and you want to just kind of push down like this. Keep going a little bit further each rep, not really forcing anything. This is not a stretch in the traditional sense. You just want to keep kind of pumping it in and out of the end range of motion. Each time you do it, you should notice that you can go a little bit further than the last, and you basically keep doing this until you've affected some sort of change in the joint. So there you have it. Make sure that you test and retest. So basically, if you've done the mobilizations after you've tested yourself and you've identified where you're missing range of motion, always go back to the test and see, if it's improved. If you've noticed a small improvement but not as much as you would like, then go ahead and do more reps. Lastly, before I end this video, I want to say that everybody has different hip structure, and some people are born with what's called a congenital hip variance, meaning that their hips are just naturally shaped differently than other people. And for some people, that's naturally just going to limit the amount of internal rotation or external rotation that they have in their hips. And if you have that going on, you're not really going to be able to improve your range of motion all that much with these mobilizations. Okay, so I made a video about that that's a little bit more comprehensive. I'll link that in the description down below, so make sure you check that out. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking this button over here. Also, make sure to download my ebook, Posture the Ultimate Life Hack. That's a book all about posture, why it's important, and how to improve it. If you want to get your copy of that, click this button, or you can click the first link in the description down beneath this video. They both take you to the same spot. If you're watching on mobile, that link won't work for you. So basically click that. That'll take you to a page on my website where I'll ask you for your email. As soon as you enter in your email, I'll send you straight over to the book, Posture the Ultimate Life Hack, so that you can download it. Other than that, thanks for watching.